Got one more guest tonight. Thank you to obviously the three guests coming on already. Great experience and sharing their stories and that as well, and their experiences of mental health. Just waiting for the last guest to come on back online, and then we'll have a chat with them. Um, so let me get him on now.
Yo, Jay, what's going on?
Yes, you're good. Right. So for the people that don't know you, mate, who are you and how did we meet?
Hang on, let me just connect these headphones in because it's a bit quiet. Hang on.
All good.
Yo, Jay, what's going on, man?
Yeah, not much, mate. Back to work, obviously today as well, same as you.
Boy, the
Keep
work
doing
don't
it,
stop, pal. It don't stop, mate.
of course.
Uh, well, how we met is quite interesting, actually, because I remember there being a game, if I'm quite correct, it was SC Dons versus Kenningwell. And they were playing, and obviously, signing for Romford, I was not able to play on
Mm,
Sundays anymore. You know what I mean? So,
mm.
I saw you over there, and it was funny. We just clicked. We just started talking, and from there, we've just always stayed in touch. So it's been quite nice.
Yeah, I touched on it. Obviously, for the ones who don't know him, this is Junior Baker. I've supported his movement. He's supported my movement. Um, and everything like that. I touched on
Yeah,
it before in the lives and that you was one of the people what helped me start doing this. You know what I mean? If you
yeah.
turn around and said, if you want to do something, just do it. Like it doesn't matter what
Let's do
people are
it.
saying to you. Like just do it. Yeah. And obviously you put out your positive vibes every morning.
We try, we try.
Yeah, and trying to get through obviously these tough times, what we're going through at the moment.
Yeah,
Obviously, you was on the first one before. Obviously, it started going a bit more um, with the more guests and everything like that. And
yeah.
you've seen the growth a little bit of this, and hopefully it's helped two or three people along the way. You know what I mean? If it's only helped one, then that's all good and well. You know what I
That's
mean?
the whole concept.
Yeah, of course. So obviously you work in a school. How hard has it been from the people what you know of at the moment mentally going forward? Obviously, how do you think they can adapt back after lockdown?
It's difficult, because I get a lot of parents daily, and when you're speaking to parents, like we've got at the moment, everything's become like this online world at the moment. And when I'm not at work, I'm online, and when I am at work and I'm calling parents, checking, for those individuals who don't have computers and things like that, I get the parent asking, oh, when are we going back to school?
Mm.
When are the children allowed to go back? And I don't want to give no misleading information, so it's quite hard because I know the same information that you know. We all tuned in when Boris came out with his national statement, and it was almost like you was better off saying nothing. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Because you're
100%.
telling people you can go and see your loved one. Now you're telling people you can't go and see your loved one. People are ignorant as well at the best of times where it's like, look, I'm going out. You understand? And, when you've been praying for such good weather,
Mm.
for so long,
Yeah.
and good weather's now presented ourselves and we're still very much locked down. So, yeah, it's frustrating going forward. You just have to just be safe, be careful, like you would be any other normal day. The only difference is no one's been told 100% that they're to go outside and still be able to associate in society. So, if you are somebody that's supporting people in the community, generally go to work. If you're running low on food, generally go and get your rations and come back home.
Yeah. You got a question from Spencer. Who's
Spence.
he's from Essex Charity FC.
Okay.
So he's and said, "How do you feel football helps people's state of mind from a mental health perspective?"
Um, with our country being England, what we live in, football's the national sport. let's just be honest. That's what England football is. It's the national sport. So, every young boy's dream is to be a footballer. I understand, and I only can speak from my own personal perspective. Whereas, football is what helped rescue me. Understand, and when you're young and you're trying to aspire to be a footballer or to be, a sportsman in whatever sport you choose to take up on, it's important to kind of be in that atmosphere because there's a buzz around it. I understand. There's a buzz when you win. There's a different type of buzz when you lose. And, at the moment, it's almost like everyone's at a loss. You understand? Because there's no much football going on at the moment. I know that the Bundesliga have just started, putting football back on the TV, but when you're watching it, it's like a friendly.
Yeah,
You understand?
I was watching it the other day, and I was just like, "This is not football. Like,
Yeah,
it's in an empty stadium." I was actually on the phone to like Kevin James, and I was
yeah,
like, "It's like Kev, this is not football. Like, as much as you wanted it back, this is not football. This is not. You're not in a full stadium with fans. Like,
that's right.
and that's what you play for. Like for me, that's what you play for. You play for
Yeah,
the fans who are paying their money to come and watch you.
yeah,
Like you're not playing football just for the sake of playing football because
that's right.
you want to finish the season off. Like that's all
Yeah,
that it seems at the moment. It's like we want to finish the season off, and
yeah,
that's it. But that's not a good frame of mind when the fact is like everything what's going on with everyone, we're rushing it through like to finish the season off. What about everyone else who's paid their money throughout the year because they wanted to come and watch their team, they loved their
that's right.
team, and mentally
Yeah,
in their head, that's what they work their whole week for, their whole month
yeah,
for, to go and
yeah.
watch a game of football. Like,
Well, I mean, as much as playing football, fans make football.
yeah,
You understand, it's like if you've grown up in a household where your dad supported that team, you naturally are going to follow the team that your dad supported.
mm,
You understand? And if you've gone to football matches and it's the whole camaraderie because obviously you want to meet, um, you end up meeting up with new mates. You end up meeting up with all different types of walks of life, and it's a get out. You understand? And as much as we support football, do we go and watch football every single week like the Man Uniteds, the Arsenals? You don't, especially if you're a footballer that's playing. You understand? So
yeah,
when it comes to supporting your local team,
mm,
you're going to see a lot of highs, you're going to see a lot of lows in anything that you do. You understand? And obviously, with this current lockdown at the moment, football from us lot in terms of non-league that stopped in like the end of February.
yeah,
You understand? Because the weather was crap anyway. You
yeah,
understand? So there was
yeah,
always games cancelled, games called off. And
mm,
then March, it was just complete shutdown. It was
yeah.
almost like, well, what do you do?
Yeah, of course. Spencer has just said, from my point of view, football is a way of escaping from the world of mental health. However, talking to those around you is the most important part of mental health recovery. Do you
Oh,
feel
yeah,
it?
totally agree. Yeah, I agree with that, Spencer. You're spot on there. I think what's most important is that, when I play football, once I cross that white line, it's almost like nothing else matters. You understand? I know why I'm there.
Mm,
I'm trying to defend, the goal, trying to protect my team from conceding and everything. It just doesn't matter. And even when you're still even in and around the club and you're still, making your way home, it's still when you finish, that's when you're dealing with the other responsibilities that you've still got to deal with. And that's going back to the real world.
mm.
You understand? But yeah, mental health is so misconstrued as well. You understand? Because, a lot of people do cry wolf. You understand and crave for some attention that just generally ain't there. You understand? Whereas there are some genuine people that, have conditions, born with conditions, you understand, that face mental health daily. And that's just waking up in the morning. You understand? So, to be able to, not do the one thing that you love doing, whether that's a fan going to watch football or whether that's somebody who's actively playing football, it's tough for all of us.
Yeah, Spencer said he completely agrees with what you're saying. Can I throw another spin on it though? That
Yeah,
I've touched on it with AJ just a minute ago. I feel like it's sometimes you misconstrue the people what are closest to you that they actually understand it at times. I'm not
yeah,
saying for everyone, but for me, from my point of view, the last year and a bit when I was struggling because obviously my dad had the issues and that, and I blocked it out a little bit because I'd done the England sixes, but it ended up being players from the England sixes who I knew through football, but I didn't know on a personal level, just knew through football.
Yeah,
They ended up being the closest ones to me, and the ones what I thought was not closest, who were closest to me, they ended up being not the closest ones what I could rely on. So
yeah,
people like Kevin James and Dean, who's just coming in, Maka, and that, and
Max.
and Helgi and AJ and Abs and stuff like that. Like, I could go on with the names, but for me, they become more closer to me than, say, my best friend, who
Yeah,
I thought was my best friend, but it ended up not being. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And that's a disappointing thing. And I had to mentally, obviously, that scarred me a little bit. Like, he was meant to be my best friend, and why are you not supporting me and you're going against me? You know what I mean? So I'm throwing it on another perspective, that I feel like, yes, it's easy to talk. Oh no, it's not easy to talk, but you've got to know the people what you can talk to, and
Well, you
actually
know what?
understand
I'll
them.
give you a well, I'll give you a scenario. You know, as much as many people see me laughing and, you know, always fooling around and that, I mean, that's what I do to help me get through my day. Yeah, I understand. But,
Mm.
you know, as much as I've been motivating, or shall I say, trying to motivate other people, I had to ask myself, well, who actually motivates me?
Yeah,
And I reached out to somebody and I said, boy, you know what? I'm having a bad day.
yeah,
And he said, what? He said, Bakes, if you're having a bad day, you know, we're all finished. And I was
mm-hmm.
thinking, well, hang on a minute, like I'm actually calling you to have a conversation. Now
Yeah,
you've completely killed me, because I'm thinking like, hang on a minute, you know what, June, just pick yourself up and go again. You know what I
mm.
mean? Like, but it was my time to want to offload and just, you know what I mean, moan about something of nothing. You know what I mean? So,
Mm.
you know, you're totally right. I mean, what you have to understand is when you go to anybody with any issues or any concerns, sometimes you have to understand that they just genuinely might not understand or know how to deal with you at that time.
Yeah,
You understand? And that's also a difficult thing as well. It's like you go into a loved one in your house, you know, you say, look, this and that is going on. And it's like, all right, don't worry, everything will be okay. But you kind of wanted more of an explanation or some support.
mm.
You understand? And, you know, you can't pick and choose your family. And sometimes we gravitate to friends as well, because,
Mm.
you know, they also go through things that could also be similar to what you could be experiencing. And that's, you know, when there's people out there that have actively lost people that are really close to them, you know, I'm fortunate to still be able to have my mum and have my daddy who's alive. But at the same time, it's quite hard to speak to somebody who's lost a parent as well, because there's not that element of understanding. You can be supportive, you know, but there's not that real element of understanding. So you have to still be sensitive around those particular people, because you don't want to say the wrong thing and you don't want to upset them. So I don't think it's, you know,
Mm.
don't push those people away. Sometimes people just generally just don't understand.
Mm. Spencer said, this is from his, obviously, his point of view again, which I think is a little bit true, but I also don't think it is as well, which I'll explain why I feel, and obviously hear your views on it as well. From personal experience, only people who have experienced mental health can properly understand it. I get what you. I agree with you to a certain degree, but also I've never had mental health. I may thought I've had mental health, like where I was down or whatever, and gone through some dark bits because of my dad's and the issues. But I don't actually feel I had full mental health. I was probably slightly depressed, which people will turn around and say, well, it is a sign of mental health. Well, no, because I don't feel it was fully. Um, but my thing was that I feel that I didn't have fully mental health, but I can pass on the experience of what I went through around my dad. So, yes, my dad may have had mental health at some point in his life, which he did, but I got my experience from him and his issues. So I feel I can pass on what my views and my experience from that. So I might not have had mental health, but I feel like I do understand what my dad went through because of speaking to him and having the experience. Do you know what I
Well, you
mean?
know what you have to understand. I mean, I've worked in an environment where there are individuals who can't think for themselves. You understand, which makes them vulnerable. And when you work in an environment of mental health, I was working in a care home many years ago, and there were individuals that actually lived on the actual property, so it was
Mm,
supported living.
mm,
And them individuals had ADHD, some of them had ASD, heavily severely autistic, some of them had no real memory. And there was a guy there was two guys, young boys that was there that couldn't speak.
mm,
You understand?
mm.
And they can understand you, but they
Yeah,
can't speak. So it
yeah.
was a bit difficult in how they would translate to you.
Mm,
And you look at them individuals and you think, wow, like you're giving this genuine support. And when you see that there's an individual that is going through that, and you know, it can make you feel depressed as well.
mm,
You understand? And it can suppress your feelings because although it's a job, you know what I mean? You're actually taking your job seriously because you genuinely want to give help and support. So
mm.
just like what you touched base on in terms of how your dad was severely suffering, you took some of that on yourself because it was like, well, I actually want to help you, dad. I love you because you're my
Mm,
dad. But
mm,
then, it's almost like, well, these professionals, they're taking long to help and support you. And,
mm,
you end up working yourself up into a frenzy. And I guess that goes for a lot of other
mm.
individuals in society as well. Because like I said, when I was providing support for them young people, I was starting work at 10 and then I was finishing work at 10 o'clock at night because other members of staff, they might have called in sick and you can't leave that environment until someone else comes along. And then you want to go home, but then you understand why you're there because you just want to keep giving as much support as possible, which can be frustrating. So I've had my moments of, feeling like, raw, I wish I could just take you home and look after you.
Mm,
You understand?
mm.
Obviously, that brings other safeguarding risk and all them things, but it's the thought of just wanting better for other people that
Of
are
course.
genuinely suffering,
Hmm.
and the medication as well, where I was administering it, risperidone. Don't know whether you heard of that at all. That's like a
Yeah,
really, serious form of medication.
yeah,
Methotrexate. There's so many things that
yeah. Of
people
course.
genuinely have to subscribe for themselves daily to
Mm,
help them keep their levels down, especially where anxiety kicks in. So,
mm, mm,
mental health it's definitely a lot more open and wider
mm,
now than it ever has been.
mm.
I mean, I grew up in a generation where, talking about things weren't the most
But,
easiest thing to do. Some
mm,
people would laugh at you, some people thought that you were going a bit doolally. And it's like, well, hang on
mm,
a minute, I'm reaching out to you. But yet again, if people
mm,
don't understand what you're genuinely going through as a person,
mm.
it causes a problem.
Somebody asked, "Can you help me understand what it's like living with your condition in these times?" To be fair, it's very
It's
hard for in especially at this present time. I think you know what I mean. Like for
it's
anything going on.
it's even worse. I mean, it is worse. And you know what? When we talk about people genuinely suffering in terms of being able to get out, there's a lot of companies that are still actively supporting people in the community. And if you are somebody that is suffering from mental health again, the good thing that you still can actively go out for walks. What CAMS are doing at the moment is they're doing a lot of video calls at the moment because they still see a lot of young children and a lot of clients. And when that has been restricted to where they can't come to the actual location, wherever Borough CAMS is located for them, the only way they can reach out at the moment is through a video link. And that all depends if the parent agrees with that as well, you see. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of restraints that are going on. It is difficult during this time as well, even more so because, you'd be very surprised how much anxiety is built up as well. Because there are some genuine people that are genuinely scared to go out of the house. There are those people, and there's a lot of young children as well. Even me working in a school, there's been a lot of parents at the moment. No, my child don't want to leave the house.
Yeah.
Like they just don't want to come out of the house at the moment because they know it's not 100% safe. And when you're a parent, you want to do what's best for your child, but
Yeah.
then you also have to do what's in the best interest for yourself as well to make sure that the element of fear doesn't creep in too heavily. Where when this is because we're never going to get this again. This is what people have to understand. This time that we're actively living in right now is never going to come back again in my lifetime. I
Mm-hmm.
can't see it. I mean, there's been so many different, I think it was cholera or um, Spanish flu, all these different types of diseases, plagues that have happened over hundreds of years. This has come to us now everyone's in this time of uncertainty, what to do, and the hardest thing is just to try and just listen to yourself and listen to what we're being told. And, it's hard because you see that beautiful weather outside. Like even today,
Yeah.
coming home from work, traffic started to build up and I
Yeah.
started to get frustrated. I was
Yeah.
thinking, what the hell is this?
Mm.
People are sitting down in parks and, there's a lot of police around as well, which it looks good. And even when you go past and you see the police in the vans, they're all sitting down right beside each other.
Yeah.
So
No.
where's the
Yeah.
social distancing in that? You understand? So
Yeah.
there still has to be a form of togetherness in all different aspects of what jobs you might do because, someone's still got to serve and protect.
100%. This obviously, let's go on to obviously your movement as well. I
Tap
know,
the ting.
yeah, talk the ting and skin to tea.
That's it,
Uh,
man.
it was asked from me as well.
Hmm.
And you'll know this person, but he's not on Instagram. He wanted me to ask you what it actually means.
Who's
And
that?
I think Ray Bagnall.
Oh, Mr. Bagnall.
Yeah, he,
You know
he,
what? I was at Thamesmead Town, and Ray was heavily associated down at Thamesmead Town. And
yeah,
I guess I've been fortunate in my career where wherever I've gone, I've either gravitated to people or people have been kindly enough to gravitate to me. Yeah, I understand. And I've always learned being young, growing up. Look after people on the way up because you never know when you need them on the way down. Yeah, I understand. And, since I've moved on from Thamesmead and gone to other clubs in and around, Ray's always, sent a little message and held me up,
he's a top.
So,
He's a top guy. He does the same to me as well. He's a top guy. He's an old school guy, and
yeah.
he supports a lot of people. I know. Even just a simple message, as you say, simple message. But he's a good guy. He's a good guy. But he wanted me
Yeah.
to ask you what it means. Both.
Boy, like I said, not many people have asked me what it's meant, but what has been most important for me, it's been nice when I see that people have been kind enough to, send me a video and, support what I'm doing. You understand? Because there's so many different positive platforms going on out there, and I'm just one of many. You understand? That is one, just being myself. You understand? Like, some people will take to it, some people won't. Videos are not for everybody. I also respect that. And I never understood that at first because I wanted a lot of my friends to kind of,
Yeah.
send me a video and support what I was doing. And I understood that, what, I've got people that I don't know that have just consciously joined in and supported what I've been doing. But to get to the point, when I was young growing up, my nan passed away 8 years ago. And yeah, man, every day still feels like yesterday, you know what I mean? So me and my uncle, we were sitting down and we were just reminiscing, things she used to say to us, and it was wakey wakey, rise and skin teeth. I was like, no, 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 she didn't say that. It was skin two teeth, and it just stuck. You know what I mean? Skin two teeth, and when I say skin two teeth, my nan's always with me. Yeah, I understand. So it's almost carrying a memory that I grew up with, knowing that when she used to wake us up, because I grew up with my grandparents. You understand? My mum had me very, very young. So, it was important, obviously, where my nan and my granddad kind of took the reins, although mum was still around, you know, um, nan grew me up with basic fundamentals, you understand? And, you kind of find your own way when you're growing up through life as well. So, for the last 3 years, skin to teeth stuck. You know what I mean? And I put my own little spin on it, big up your chest. And, the whole concept was, what, smile and be positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. That's what Nan kind of instilled in us from when we were young. Big up your chest, walk with your head high. You understand? Be proud of where you come from. Yeah, I never grew up with my dad. You
Yeah.
understand? My dad was never around. Being young, running around playing football, seeing other people who had their dads around, I never kind of understood like where was mine. You understand? And when you're young, there's some questions that you want to ask, but you don't want to ask them questions because I never missed that. You understand? My dad was into alcohol, he was into drugs, and when you think about a lifestyle of today's society, being that individual growing up with a person around you who's into alcohol, who's into drugs, it's not really a good setting for you to then want to grow up and see that. You understand? You
So
know.
I'm just
Um,
laughing because Andrew's in it.
Start the thing. So yeah, I never grew up with my dad. You understand? But you
Mm,
know, me personally, I'm a product of not. I never grew up to resent him.
mm,
You understand? I never, you know, my dad's heavily around in my life now. You know, and as much as he is my dad now,
yeah.
you know, I've still got that respect to say hello, dad. You
Mm,
understand? Not, you ain't around, you ain't been in my life. You know, it's more not even what can you do for me now. It's yeah, we can build a relationship.
mm,
You understand? You know,
mm,
I guess I've surpassed him, but I never looked at it as I'm trying to be better than you. I'm just trying to do what's right, and that's be there for my children. You
mm.
understand?
Yeah,
So,
of course.
you know, growing up young, playing football, seeing everyone else with their dads around them and etc. I was just the lone ranger, you know, just trying to find my way. And football, as I said before, that was my way of releasing frustrations and, you know, letting out whatever emotions that I may have had to try and be a better person. You know, has it served me too bad? No. You know, always trying to find a different way of trying to be positive all the time. You understand? But I go through my own little stresses, my own little testing times. You
Yeah,
understand? You
yeah,
know, I just have a way of thinking, you know what, someone else out there is going through it a lot worse than me.
yeah.
You understand? You know, so when I say talk the thing, it's all about just merely just expressing yourself without fear. I told you all, you
Mm,
know, my dad weren't in my life.
mm,
Am I going to be the first or the last person? No.
mm,
Can I be the difference and try and change that for mine? Yeah, of course.
mm.
You understand? And, you know, when I work with these young boys as well that, you know, have experienced almost what I've experienced, you know, I'm the example to them by saying, look, listen, make yourself proud. You
Yeah,
understand? You know, do what you need to do. You know, don't, as you get older, you start to learn and understand that situations happen and things don't always work out in the way you think that they work out. But you learn as you grow older that, you know what, situations happen and you have to be accountable. You have to be accountable for the choices that you make.
100%. Obviously, the last couple of questions. Hello, Zoe.
Sure.
By the way, Zoe's saying hello. Uh,
Zoe.
but yeah, yes. Last couple of questions. Obviously, we've touched on it with a couple of the other guests. I spoke to Kevin George as well about it the other week. Who's
George, man.
yeah,
Well,
he's
well,
big. The work he's
it's
doing is massive as well. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
it's interesting. Kevin started football with me. Exactly. We both played for a team called Moonshot in New Cross, Deptford.
mm,
You understand? It was me, Adrian Stone,
yeah,
Kevin George, Gavin Tomlin. You understand? Like,
mm,
so, you know, I was just that, you know, I guess misguided. I didn't want to move on. I wanted to stay in New Cross in Moonshot. You understand? Where
yeah.
those boys obviously moved on and done even great things, which is credit to them.
Mm-hmm. When I was speaking to him, turned around and said, for him, he felt that there wasn't enough in football clubs and education, um, given enough experience or right knowledge, maybe because of money and funding in within the club and the education. Do you feel it is a lack of funding what hampers maybe people knowing more about mental health?
Of course, it's a generation cycle. That's what needs to be broken. That's the reality because yeah, again, in the time of when things were first open back then, you know, and people was very closed in speaking out and being truthful about, you know, what was going on, people wouldn't invest in that.
Mm.
You understand? Like now, you know, there's loads of different avenue now where Kevin's doing great stuff. There's Sporting Chance, which is obviously for, you know, the professionals where they go there and they can, you know, get the support that is deemed necessary for them. And all it takes is, I mean, look what Harry Kane's done. You
Mm.
know, a public figure, England captain. He's invested money in his local club that gave him an opportunity.
Mm.
Now he's one of many professional footballers that get a lot of money every single week, and all it takes is for one of them just to show genuine interest in mental health in football. You
Mm.
understand? And really, you know, pay their attention to putting something back in that.
Mm.
So no one's naive enough to say that things are not happening. I just believe that because it's not happening directly to them, and the element of fear of being in the public eye and coming out and saying, you know what, I'm suffering with this and I'm suffering with that. That's the only way that, you know, someone with, because money talks. That's the reality. You understand? Like, and you know, with this, what you've set up as well, Jamie, it's a platform for people just to express themselves, and hopefully my story can touch someone else's story. You understand? But then, you know, I'm not saying that I'm not a public figure. You understand? Like, you know, I'm just a person in the community that's trying to spread positivity as best as possible. So at the end of the day, with somebody who is in the public eye, that is seen on TV daily, and that can be authentic enough to express themselves in all the ways that they can, you know, people will gravitate a lot more to that, where people will start to fund and put things into the local communities where, you know, mental health can be really looked at, especially for grassroots football.
Yeah, obviously we've touched on football a lot because obviously that's to do with me and you and everyone else as well. But from an educational, obviously, side of it, obviously they do the first aid at mental health, and Kevin
Yeah,
said he didn't want to be so naive not to go on the course first and
yeah,
make an opinion about it. His opinion on it, which he has an opinion on it, I have an opinion on it, you have a different opinion on it. But from his point of view, is
yeah,
he went to university for like 5 years, studied obviously, and wrote the book and gone through a lot of things, obviously in the pro game and everything
yeah,
like that as well. He's not saying he's an overall expert, but he done 5 years of hard graft to become a specialist in it.
yeah,
He feels it's quite dangerous to a certain degree that a person can go on a 2-day course and then be able to advise people in school setting about mental health. He went on the course and he felt that it wasn't in depth as to what it should have been, and you can't learn as much about mental health in a 2-day course. What are your thoughts on that? Obviously, working in a school.
you know what? There's a lot of institutions that are promoting so much positive things, and you know, everything is a work in progress. You understand? You've got to be in things to change things.
Mm,
You understand? It's okay talking about it from the outside and saying, you know what,
mm,
I hope that this happens and hope that that happens.
mm,
Kevin went on a course, and in that 2 days, his expectations weren't met in the way that he felt they should have been met.
mm,
Who's to say that if he doesn't still keep actively going on courses, one day he could run the courses, or
mm,
someone else who is aspiring to work in that field
mm,
can change it.
mm,
You understand? And this is why I said it's a generation cycle.
mm.
So remember, this has been going on way before Kevin's taken up that opportunity. You
Yeah.
understand? But
Mm,
credit to him again, who's decided to kind of delve into that field so that more opportunities can be open and raised awareness for from a lot of younger players. I mean, when you aspire to grow up and be a footballer,
yeah.
and you're going through your YTS and you're going through an academy, and then you don't get accepted, football has just become all you know.
Yeah.
So people don't think about plan B and what next to fall back on.
Mm,
So when things don't work out, it does, you know, and then you're playing in non-league and you're thinking, oh my God, what the hell is this? You understand? And then you start turning into other things that, you know, that weren't the plan or the route that was designed for you. You understand? But
mm,
situations and things happen. And if, like I said, if you want to make the difference, you got to be in it to change it.
mm,
And small progress is still progress. I mean,
mm,
look how we first started, Jamie. He was cutting out all the time, and you know what
yeah.
I mean. And
Mhm.
progressively,
I
you
think,
know,
as we say it, and you said it as well. Money makes the world go round, and if it's not being invested in to education
yeah,
from the government or from funding or anything like that, it's very hard to make a change to a certain
yeah,
degree, because you can't go on these specialist courses, and you have to a certain degree, just go on these 2-day courses. What is basic, you know what I mean? Basic first aid in mental
yeah,
health. So the opportunity is there to go on these courses, but if you want to be more, it's all about money, isn't it? So
yeah. I
it's
mean,
it's, it's difficult.
you know what? The thing about the system and the country that we're all fortunate to be born in, everybody has had the opportunity to a free education.
Mm,
You understand? And there does come a time where you know, we've abused it. You know, we've been in the classrooms, whether you're an academic learner or whether you're a practical learner.
mm,
You know, there's still hope, you know, for even all of us at a senior age to still learn a skill. You understand? And, you know, as much as, you know, money does talk, you understand, don't waste the opportunities if you have the opportunity to step up. You understand? You got to take things with both hands. You know, as I said before, small progress is still progress, you know, and, you know, money does talk, and some people are very fortunate and blessed to be in power positions. And even they get judged in terms of how they spend their money, but it's their money. You understand? And if they want to spend it in the way that they want to spend it, you
Yeah,
know,
of
credit
course.
to them. You know, so there's people that have had nothing, turned it into something, and, you know, done wonders with it. You understand? And, you know, at the end of the day, we just have to be blessed and fortunate that, you know what, from we wake up the next day, we all have hope and aspirations of making a difference some way, somehow. And that's all we have to be grateful for, especially right now, you know, because we're thinking, our minds are overthinking. They're thinking about so many things outside of the box, outside of the circle, the what ifs. You know, some people don't have the opportunity of what if anymore. You
Yeah,
understand?
of
So we
course.
have to be very fortunate and grateful that, you know what, when this all opens out, I mean, let's think about it, even for the people that are in here now. How many people have said, oh, I can't wait till this lockdown's over because I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that? You understand? Your mind's thinking already now about what you want to do when you're able to go back out into society again and associate. You understand? And that's good.
Yeah, Andrew asked, what advice would you, Junior, give his 16-year-old self, knowing what he knows now?
Boy, that, it's like going back in time, isn't it? um, I just get just to pay more attention, you know, just to pay more attention, and, you know, just take the opportunities. You know, you know, there's so many opportunities that we've all had through our hands, and, you know, so much monies that we've had come through our hands, and what do we have to show for it? You understand? So I think, you know, talking back to a 16-year-old junior back then, you know, it would have been to, you know, stay out of trouble, you know, be more sensible, you know, not doing things as a as a feeling of acceptance as well. You understand, you know, because I grew up in a difficult area. You understand, and I had to fend for myself with no real male guidance there. You understand, so, you know, like I said, you know, I'm no better than anybody else because I found a way of trying to smile and trying to laugh all the time. You know, there's something unique about all of us. You understand, and there's moments in our day that we smile, and there's moments in our day that we just want to mash things up. You understand, so, you know, there's a power of choice, and, you know, the right choice is right in front of us, and that is to stop when things are getting a bit too heated, and that is just to, you know, find an element of calm.
Yeah, last question, and then I'll let you go, June. Um,
Sure, mate.
so, what would you say to anyone who's struggling, obviously, with mental health now? What can they do apart from obviously talk to somebody? What do you feel the next thing step after that? And also, what do you feel from the outside that people can do more to help with mental health? And obviously, your overall thoughts on mental health.
No one loves you more than the people at home, and when things go wrong, it's the people at home that are there first. So I think it starts in the home. You know, it's very important making sure that whatever you're feeling, whatever you're experiencing, you know, you tell those that are really close to you indoors. Yeah, I understand, you know, because, you know, not every single person that we meet is our next of kin. You know what I mean? So that person there is somebody that is very, very close to us. You understand? So I think when we are going through something that is, you know, really testing, is finding the courage to be able to let them know first what's going on. You understand? And, you know, we all get into bad habits where, you know, why am I the last to know? Yeah, I understand. So it's all about reaching out to those that are within the home, and, you know, really trying to gravitate your family around you. You understand? You know, because you can't choose them. You
No.
understand? And, you know, families have their flaws. And in regards to going forward, you know, people know people. You understand? And, you know, as long as the people in your house are fully aware of what's going on in your lifestyle, it doesn't matter what anyone outside the door's got to say, or what anyone outside of the door is thinking or saying, because inside your house is where it needs to be accepted. You understand? And, you know, I think that's where people lose the battle. You understand? Is they've gone outside, they've spoken about this, and it's almost come back home, and it's like, hang on a minute, how comes I was not aware? You understand? And then it causes other problems.
Yeah.
So there's not there's answers out there. You understand, to all of our all of our problems. A problem is like eczema. You have to try different creams to work what's best for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. And,
Yeah.
there's so many different things out there. You got to try it first. You got to give it a go and then see, all right, even if you are going through something at the moment, sometimes just going for a walk by yourself and taking a little 15, 20-minute stroll down the road just to get a peace of mind can also be the world of good. A lot of mates are saying like, oh, what's football going to be like when we go back? And I'm like, you know what? There's going to be no pre-season. We're all going to come back, and
Yeah.
that manager's probably just going to pick you starting 11 and say, look, listen, boys, go out there, do a job. And you know what? Those are on the bench, you get your opportunity.
Yeah.
And, just like what Spencer said, it's okay not to be okay. You
Mm.
understand? It's okay to go somewhere and just scream and
Yeah.
just let it out. It is okay to do that. Of course it is. We're not robots.
100%. June, thank you, obviously, for this
Hey, man.
coming
Come
on.
on, man.
We'll talk
Come on.
soon again, obviously.
Most definitely, Jay, man.
Keep safe. Keep spreading your movement and positive
Hey,
vibes,
we're
mate, as well.
trying, man.
All right,
All right,
but
Jay, you take
cheers.
care, man.
You too, mate. Thank you very
Anytime,
much.
pal.
Yeah, you too, mate. Bye-bye. So that was Junior Baker. Really enjoyed it. To be fair, me and him could probably talk about it all night. But I'm going to let yous go as well and let Junior go. We're back Thursday night. Special. I'm pleased to announce it's been arranged that Joe Ford will be back on live at 8:30 on Thursday night. Make sure you tune in because he's got some more inspirational story. What has been going on recently. He's returning obviously after his inspirational story a few weeks ago. So yeah, 8:30 on Thursday night. Let us talk. Everyone keep safe. As we know, it's Mental Health Awareness Week this week. Yeah, if you need to chat, just DM me or anyone. Yeah, if you're struggling, let us talk. See you on Thursday, 8:30.